Hello everyone, I'm Jason Harmon, host of Tennessee WildCast. Thanks for tuning in this week. We're going to be climbing aboard It's All About Me, the Power T, with Admiral Greg Boles and Officer Jeff Webb. Greg is going to tell us all about the Vol Navy and what it's like sailgating on game day. Officer Webb, along with his partners and many other agencies, make sure everything stays afloat on game days. No pun intended. So we'll catch up with him and learn how to have a safe game day on the water. This episode was live on October 5th, so check your local listings for information on this week's game. Stay with us, and as always, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the show.
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. It's football time in Tennessee, and we are live with the Vol Navy. I'm so excited on the boat. It's called It's All About Me. Admiral Greg Boles has brought us aboard, and it's going to be a great show, Matt. Thanks for being helping co-host.
Man, you know, this is home to me. This is where I cut my teeth as a wildlife officer, so, man, I am thrilled to be on the show today.
This is going to be fun, and we have Mr. Jeff Webb. He's a wildlife officer, boating officer for us for the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and glad to have him as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
So, we're on the Tennessee River right below Neyland Stadium here below us. The game is tonight. Georgia and Tennessee. It should be a fun game to go watch if you're in town. You can get tickets, go do that. Watch on TV. I think it's on ESPN,
I'm not sure who
Anyway, tonight is 7 o'clock, so check it out or come see the game, but it's going to be fun. We're on It's All About Me here at the houseboat, and we thank Greg for having us. Admiral.
You bet, anytime.
He's got an awesome place here. He said, make yourself at home, so we're here.
That's what it is, a big home.
So tell us.
Floating home.
Yeah. Greg, tell us about the boat. Tell us what all happens here in the Vol Navy on your boat.
Well, we have just a good get-together, fellowship, and fun time with everybody. We invite all kinds of fans on. We Tennessee fans we don't know, and this time we'll have Georgia fans we don't know.
So you let the Georgia fans come aboard?
Absolutely,
okay.
but they have to. They got strict rules. There's certain things they can and cannot do, but they have it. We have a compliance officer here. He goes over every time one comes on board. The compliance officer, Mr. White, will go over the rules with them. As long as they abide by the rules, they're welcome to stay.
Do you make them walk the plank if they violate?
We've had one Florida guy jump off one time, and I just made a motion at him, and he just jumped off.
Well, gators can swim anyway. So.
He didn't. Then he wanted to come in and take a shower, and I said no.
Well, we appreciate you letting us come aboard. It's been fun so far. So, what made you want to be a part of the Vol Navy?
Well, I'm a boater I grew up being in the boats, and I had all kinds of boats, and one day we started renting a boat.
Yeah.
And over 20 years ago, and one thing led to another. Started renting bigger boats up here because I'm not from here. I'm from Middle Tennessee, but this boat used to be black and brown.
Okay.
Until I bought it one day. So we turned it into a sports bar on water.
Wow, that's cool.
Tell us about the seats over here. This is the coolest part. These chairs over here.
Yeah, these seats are from Thompson Bowling. They're original seats that were in the stadium here now, but we could purchase them in sets of 3 and 4, and I purchased several of them, and then we made some into bar stools.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of history here. So
I see a lot of memorabilia downstairs, a lot of autographs and things and stuff. That's pretty cool. It's
right.
all about the big orange here on this
It's all about me, the Power T. You know, that's what this boat is.
Yeah, it's fun.
And we have a blast. You know, originally I bought the thing for 8 weekends a year, so that's what it was for, and that's what it's been doing for over 20 years. So.
20 years. That's my next question. So you've been doing this for 20 years now?
Yeah, pretty close to it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, what's your favorite part? What do you love most about coming out here?
Saturday morning. And it's just, as you see the people start walking down the greenway, and it suddenly gets thicker and thicker and more people. And, you know, Georgia's a special. The largest Vol Navy we ever had was, I think it was 2005. We had over 1,000 boats on the 3 docks.
Wow.
And it was, I believe it was 05. It was 05 or 07. but either Florida home game or Georgia home game is always the largest Vol Navy. And we just have a blast. I mean, it's a totally different way to do it. I think it's the only way to do it. And, you know, every major network's been on here doing interviews, and ESPN's on here. SEC Network was here last night, and they're coming back today. It's fun. I mean, it's hard to explain unless you come down here and really see how it goes.
Yeah. So you normally have, what, 200 boats or so out here, and it's
today
it'd
probably be between 200 to 300 maybe, because the small craft, the day craft, to come up today. And what's really nice, Friday afternoon, you sit up here on the bar and look down at the edge of the curve of the river, and the boats just come around the corner.
Yeah. And
you know, they just keep coming and coming and coming.
So they call it sailgating, right? Instead of tailgating?
I don't know where the word sailgating. There's no sailboat around here.
I was watching a few videos online, and there's like sailgating with the Vol Navy. So.
Yeah, so I guess I'm adopted to sailgating also. So, you know, that's just part of it.
Well, back in, the early 60s, I was reading online.
George Mooney. He was the announcer for the Vols, and he didn't want to fight traffic, and he pulled up in his boat outside the stadium, and that started in 1963.
Wow. 1963. So
it's grown a bit since then.
Yeah. And they're climbing over rocks, and I guess the docks weren't here.
The docks weren't here. TWRA actually, they funded these original docks right here. And actually, we just had them rebuilt this year for the first time. I don't know when the first docks came, but we got all new docks now. And so it's looking good down here, and we thank TWRA for what they've done for us.
Awesome. Well, that kind of leads us to Jeff here. You're on the water. You or your counterparts, somebody's on the water patrolling every Saturday home game, right?
Yes, sir, and there's usually a pretty good number of us down here for ball games. Obviously, this is going to be our largest home game as far as boat traffic goes, so we're going to have a whole lot of people here working on the waterfront.
Yeah. So tell us what a normal Saturday looks like for you when you're out here patrolling the Vol Navy.
Normal Saturday, it usually starts 3 or 4 days beforehand. We have a meeting that we attend with our partner agencies, the UT Police Department, Knoxville Police Department, Knox County Sheriff's Department, Rural Metro, Knoxville Fire Department, all these sister agencies. We all meet together a few days beforehand to see if there's any problem that's going to occur before the home games. We usually come down the night before. Like last night, I was down here till about 9, 10 o'clock last night, making sure that boats get in here. And we have the channel that is maintained and open at all times. And then we usually get down here several hours before kickoff on a game day to make sure that things are going smooth and everybody's having a safe time before kickoff.
So TWRA has been a part of policing the Vol Navy for a long time, and we were talking earlier, we think that may have got started back around the World's Fair in, 82?
Yes, sir, in 82. TWRA hired some of its part-time boating officers, and they were assigned to work down here on the Knoxville waterfront. People like Pete White, Brian Ripley, Marvin Reeves, Wayne Rich, they were hired in as part-time boating officers for the 1982 World's Fair. Their job was to make sure that people were safe down here on the waterway because there was tens of thousands of people who were visiting the World's Fair.
Those guys have always been referred to as turtles, and I never knew why. And I asked Brian Ripley one time, why are you guys that were hired in 82 for the World's Fair called turtles? And he said, because we sat out there in our boat, we'd point it this way for a while, then we'd turn it this way. Just kind of like turtles, just out there moving slow in the water. So that's how they got the nickname.
So
what's one of the biggest challenges for you, Jeff, out here on the water?
I'd say one of the biggest challenges is the unknown. We have thousands and thousands of gallons of diesel fuel, gasoline, there's carbon monoxide, there's people consuming alcohol, there's boats that are moving, a no-wake zone. We have a whole lot of factors in play that are going out here, and there's just a whole lot of unknowns that we can't prepare for. So the best thing that we can do is anticipate those problems the best that we can, be aware of them, rely on our training, and hopefully deal with those as they arise.
Speaking of, there's one that arose.
Yeah, tell us about the
earlier this year. First game of the year?
Let's do the first or second.
First game.
Yeah.
Season started out bad.
Well, something like that happening though. What's your reaction? What's the first thing you do when a vessel's going down?
For those who don't know what we're talking about, tell them what went down.
Well, yeah, what went
that
down?
day.
We had a boat fire that occurred here a few weeks ago down here on one of the Vol Navy docks. Thank goodness we have some tremendous first responders here in Knoxville, the Knoxville Fire Department. They were able to get here on the scene, extinguish it very, very quickly with very, very minimal damage to these new docks, as well as other vessels that were in the area.
So nobody was rafted up with it, fortunately, at the time?
Luckily, they were able to get everybody away as things went south, and everything ended up safe, and no injuries.
Yeah, that's great. Talking about the partners, I mean, couldn't do it without them. They're out here helping you out, joining you, helping patrol the water, and then things like that happens, and it doesn't happen often. You don't have
That's exactly right.
those problems. Most of the time it's a smooth sail, no pun intended, but things like that can happen, and it's good to have all the partners there to help.
That's exactly
take
right.
care of the
And
problems.
it's truly a team effort between all of the agencies here in the Knoxville area.
And, in the years past, I know when I was down here from 03, 04 to 07, Labor Day weekend was just crazy down here because you usually had a UT home game. You had Booms Day, and of course we had dove hunting and goose hunting going on up the river. So there was a lot going on the Knoxville waterfront. Not to mention the general Labor Day boating traffic. Booms Day has since been done away with.
That's right.
So that's one less thing, I guess, to have to juggle down here.
That is right.
I think that's when Greg was talking about earlier, when we would have 1,000 or more boats for a UT game. That's when a lot of them were coming from Booms Day anyways. They were here, so they stayed for the football game, and it was craziness down here. I'm
That's
surprised
right.
we didn't have more issues than we had. But like I said, all the training and people know the routine down here. Like Greg, I mean, they've been doing it a long time. They know what you can and can't do. And these guys aren't out here looking to arrest everybody that they see. If you're rafted up, and you're of legal age, you can partake of alcohol and all that. But sometimes folks do get out of hand, and
They do.
and these guys have to deal with them.
So, Jeff, recap some of that. So, what is a guy on the water, a guy, gal, family on the water, what do they need on their boat, basically, to be safe out here and be legal?
The best thing that we tell everybody is to have a wearable life jacket for each person that's on board, and not only have it on board, but be wearing it. We can't say it enough within our agency. Wear your life jacket, wear your life jacket, wear your life jacket. Also, if the vessel's 16 feet or longer, they have to have a throwable device on board. Also, some type of a fire extinguisher. That varies based upon the length of the boat, but any vessel with enclosed fuel tanks, they are required to have a fire extinguisher on board. And then, of course, registration for the vessel, and they also need to be carrying that certificate of number.
Okay, awesome.
Don't ask a lot, and
it's a pretty basic list.
It really is, and if you're keeping a sober operator, you got life jackets on the kids, and you're not out here drawing attention to yourself, you're probably going to have a great time down here. Every now and then, people overindulge and have too good of a time, I guess you could say. But that's very minimal from my experience down here. It's fortunately things run really smoothly on these weekends, from my experience anyway.
What's the officer team look like? Do you have 2 or 3 guys helping you as far as the agency goes, the wildlife agency?
Today, we're probably going to have about 8 officers working down here today, and I can't say it enough, we rely very heavily on our part-time boating officers. Our wildlife officers are out during the middle of this deer season. We are working deer hunting, we're working all kinds of hunting enforcement and so on and so forth, and we rely on our part-time boating officers to come down here and assist us in this what we call a well-oiled machine. We couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Deer season is in full swing. Archery season is underway, and muzzleloader will be around the corner, and it's a great time to be in Tennessee.
Changing gears, these guys are from boating enforcement into more game warden type stuff. And I know when I worked in the field, that was a welcome change. People think, well, you've got the perfect job, you get to ride around a boat all day. But if you're taking your job seriously and you're out here looking for people being reckless or impaired operators, then it's not enjoyable like people think it is. It's hot, and it wears on you whenever you're just trying to keep the people on the water safe. So I can't say enough good about what these guys do on the water. And I did want to mention Carter Davis and Joe Durnan. They're 2 of the retired officers now, but they spent a lot of time down here.
A lot of years. On
the Knoxville waterfront and the Vol Navy and all that. So I don't know if they're listening or not. I'm telling them they need to be listening, but I miss those guys.
Yeah, while you mentioned that, let's thank everybody for tuning in on Facebook. We got quite a few people on here right now, and thank y'all for doing that. And remember to catch this show. We're on the radio all over the place. There's 12 stations out in Tennessee. You can listen on Saturday mornings mostly, some Sunday mornings. Catch us on YouTube and iTunes, and we're out there.
Right here in Knoxville on 98.7 WOKI.
Right. Yeah.
And the afternoons now at 1:30.
1:30 on Saturdays.
Even locally.
Admiral, tell us about how do you become a part of the Vol Navy? Is there association or something like that?
No, there used to be years ago, but now you just show up.
Okay.
You show up and become part of it. And once people come one time, they want to come back. You know, we have goes way back, a group, a sorority from Florida. They ride the bus all night long just to come down here on the boat. And the girls that originally came, 15 years ago, now they're bringing their families.
Wow.
So anybody can join the Vol Navy. It's nothing like it in the world. I mean, it's hard to really explain till you really experience it, compared to sitting up underneath the shade tree, tailgating somewhere else.
Yeah.
You come down here on the water. If you got water in you, you got to come down to the Vol Navy, and become part of it.
Yeah.
If you just come one time, you're still a member of the Vol Navy. You've done it. Mark it off your bucket list.
Tell me how this works for like the day craft you talked about. I know that a lot of these guys are here, going to be here. So if they start rafting up on out, how do they work out? Hey, we're leaving at halftime, or is that an issue that you've ever seen down here?
I've never really seen it be an issue. Normally, when you come in, you ask to tie up next to who you're tying up with. You really don't have to ask. They welcome you in. I used to be on the outside, so I always had somebody, always tying up with me. Of course, I never really leave. This boat stays here the entire football season because I'm on the inside here. But, they tie up and they go way out, and then they walk across the boats, and it's a hassle sometimes, but, they do it. And, it's really, that was the first accident we've ever had down here. Now, we've had some carbon monoxide deals before where the fire department came down because of a couple generators were really smoking some people out. But that's been some years ago, and the boat actually got fixed. So when that boat's down here, we don't have that problem anymore. But, yeah, I mean, TWRA, they do a great job trafficking it. When my brother was down here, he parked everybody when he was working on the water, Rusty. And he even parked people, big boats coming in. If a small boat came in, it was more organized. And that's one thing I wish we had down here, is to have somebody to really tell people where to park, because there's a lot of boats that come in here now that can't park because they got small boats up on the front end against the dock, and that's where the big boats need to be.
Gotcha.
And some nice people will move and allow boats in, but some people won't. They're stuck to their guns, and they're going to stay put. So
Yeah, have you had any experience, Jeff, about having to shuffle boats like that and swap positions and things? Does that become a factor?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
right before kickoff, we'll have a mad rush of boats that are trying to get in here.
Yeah, don't
And
miss the game.
We always tell people, make sure you got a spot where you are not parked in the channel, because that channel has to be open and it has to be maintained. And sometimes we run out of space down here, and we'll send them on up the river somewhere to tie up somewhere else, because there's just simply not room.
Right. I think I've heard there was one time that they had to announce it over the intercom in the stadium. Somebody needs to move your boat because we've got a barge that needs to get through.
yeah.
So, I mean, can you imagine having to leave the game to come all the way down here? It's not that far, but it'd take a while to get down here and move your boat.
That was Sam Anderson, I believe.
So you were probably here that game.
He had his boat parked in the channel.
Bad idea. Those barges can't stop.
Well,
for
I mean,
anything.
these wildlife officers out here, that I've seen them come out here and set anchors, because when you get so far out, these big boats come in. So TWRA comes in and they'll pull the anchor out for them and drop it, so to help everybody out. They're here to help. And they're a big part of the Vol Navy, in my opinion.
Yeah. We need to get y'all a flag to fly on the boat.
That's been done and told not to be done anymore.
Okay, don't do that. Don't listen to me.
Just
I'm
saying. And you can't wear orange wigs in uniform either.
Oh, really?
Inside the stadium.
Okay.
You might end up on the Jumbotron. Just saying.
Okay.
I know a guy that tried that.
That's happened before. Huh?
It's been done. Yours truly. The Neyland Stadium debacle. I won't tell it, but if you get the Tennessee Game Warden magazine, the whole story in orange and white is spelled out for you from my bleeding orange heart. So pick it up and read it.
I think we all here bleed orange. Grown up being Vols fans and watching games and
Yes,
coming
sir.
to the games, and it's in your blood, and you can't get enough of it.
Jeff and I both went to school right down the river. The Ag campus is actually on the river here. I went to school with a guy who lived on a houseboat here at Volunteer Landing Marina, and he would take his John boat to class, man. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. This dude drives his boat to class. He'd go up Third Creek and beach it there. His old John boat, go to class, get back in it, and go back home. But, yeah, Justin Nolte, I'll have to tell him to tune in and listen. He works in Florida now for Fish and Wildlife.
Okay.
Jeff's a UT grad. And
I am. I'm a Knoxville resident. I live about 3 miles from the stadium here, and it's really great to be here in my own backyard working. This is the river I grew up fishing on when I was a kid, and it's just great to be here in this capacity.
Yeah. So do you find yourself you work everything, wildlife to boating, just
Yes,
about
sir.
anything. So what's a working wildlife in the Knox County like?
It's very different than it is working in a rural county.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we deal with a lot here is a bear. When a bear comes into a metropolitan area such as Knoxville here, it makes the phones ring, and then we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's a very busy place to work year round. You know, most places across the state, they're hanging up their boating hat this time of year. We're still out here working, boating under the influence cases. We're working hunting, so it's a very active place to be working.
You know, we're getting sunburned, now. It should be cooling off by now, but it's still hot. But I know in those later games, I remember those cold rides back up the river to TWRA when they had a plant up the river here. So you get sunburned and, wind burn and all that in the same season down here. So it's, like Greg said, it's an experience like no other football game days here at the University of Tennessee are. It's I don't know of any other place that tailgates like this in the country.
There's not.
And welcome all fans, right? I mean, like you said, Georgia fans will be
All of 'em,
piling on today, and even let some Gator fans visit every now and again. Do you have people bringing their boats up that are from other states?
Well, see, Georgia brings more boats because they're next to the Tennessee River, so there's a lot of people that actually come up. Alabama brings one occasionally, and they come actually from Guntersville, and it takes them about 2.5 days to get here, and but not many, but they're welcome. They it's great down here. Everybody's a family, and there's no other place in the world you can do this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the fuel that it would take to go from Guntersville all the way to here and back in these big boats?
Well, these boats that come up here, they don't have to worry about a fuel bill.
If they do, they better not even come.
If they're worried about the price of the fuel, they don't need that boat.
Fact.
Yeah. Well, Smokey joined us today. I was hoping the mascot could be here, but we're glad to have the blow-up Smokey with us today.
Oh, yeah.
But it should be a fun day. Anything else you want to add, Jeff, about patrolling out here and things people should know about and think about as they're coming in?
We just want to remind people that when you come to a ball game here in Knoxville on the water, be patient. Bring your patience with you. There's a no-wake zone that starts every game day down here at this lower railroad trestle. We expect people to maintain that no-wake zone. We also have a commercial marina just upstream from there. That's always a no-wake zone. Just use their common sense, be courteous, and be patient.
Okay. All right.
Got any other Vol Navy stories, anything that sticks out in your mind from years past coming down? You've been coming down here a long time, even though you weren't the Knox County Wildlife Officer.
Right. I've always enjoyed coming down here to work. I mean, you have to prepare for the unexpected. I mean, I never thought somebody would drop a 10-pound bag of ice off a bridge and try to hit my boat with it before.
Man.
You just have to be ready for anything when you work down here.
That's dangerous. Wow.
And you've had people jump
We have.
on the bridge?
We have. We've had people do that on the middle of game days. We've had some of our officers who've actually saved people when they've entered the waterway from something like that. So we have to pack our tool belt for the worst every day.
Wow.
I can remember after Boomsday, some of those times when people were trying to make a mad rush down the river to get to the ramps or marinas or whatever, and having boats sink going downstream amidst boats just going right and left and all the wake you can imagine coming from all that. So been some hectic moments out here. So I'm surprised, like I said, there's not more incidents than there are considering the volume
That's
of
right.
boats that show up down here.
That's right.
Y'all do an awesome job.
Well, thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, game day today is 7 o'clock. If y'all plan on tuning in and watching it, it's going to be a fun game between Georgia and Tennessee. We appreciate everybody tuning in on Facebook. I know said the feed might be cutting in and out, but stay with us, and we'll post this this week and let people tune in and watch it that way. But I want to mention again, our podcast is out there on SoundCloud, iTunes, all the podcasting platforms. You can catch this, YouTube, and watch it there, Facebook, and all those places. So appreciate Matt joining us today, being a part of the show, and
Appreciate
he's
being here.
always great to jump in here on a Region 4 show and and help me out. This was
Absolutely.
a great idea to come out here on the Georgia weekend. I know it's everything's ramping up. People are coming out of their boats and getting ready for the show. I see SEC Nations over there doing some interviews and stuff, and got some boats coming in, and excited about that. Don't forget, deer season is in full swing. Just to remind people watching that the archery season's underway, and check your hunting guide. Visit tnwildlife.org for information on that.
What about the
regulations?
The elk hunts? I know we had 2 successful opening weekend. Have you heard about the rest of them?
We've been pushing updates on Facebook with one hunter. One of our other information guys, Barry Cross, has been out with one of those hunters and following him day to day, and they've seen some elk. They've been on some elk, but hadn't been able to connect yet. So keep following those updates. But, yeah, we had 2 nice bulls harvested during the archery season. The young sportsman hunt is coming up this weekend, I think. The young man
Before
a girl that was drawn.
Adults.
Can't remember if it was a girl or boy that got drawn for that one. But then the gun season will kick off for the –
Maybe it'll cool down for those gun hunters. I know the archers have been just miserable out there in this 90-plus degree heat, and a lot of those guys are hunting from sun up to sundown. You know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance at taking an elk in Tennessee, so they're giving it all they have. But wish it would have been cooler for them. Might have had a little more success.
Yeah. So get out there and enjoy the outdoors. We're working here doing this for you to get out and enjoy the hunting and fishing and boating in the state, just trying to keep everybody safe and have a good time. And Jeff, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
What you do and what you guys do for us.
Thank you very much.
We couldn't do it without those officers and biologists, and just it's awesome to work with you guys.
Thank you very much.
Admiral, I appreciate you being on today.
Anytime.
It's been fun. Thanks for hosting us, keeping us safe on the water here, and all the hospitality. It's been fun.
Stick around.
Yeah, we're gonna stick around for a little while and eat some lunch and hang out with the guys. But like I said, appreciate everybody tuning in. And what do you say we call it a show?
I think so.
All right. Well, we'll leave you with that. Admiral, once again, thank you. Jeff, thank you.
Yes, sir.
If you want to be a part of the Vol Navy, it's just come on out here and tie up. Be a part of it. Jeff will make sure you're parking in the right spot, and then you can just hop over the boats and come on over.
Bring your patience, wear your life jacket, and a
Have
sober
your-
operator.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
And
Get along just fine. down
It'll
here.
be a fun game. It'll be a fun day. So appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Jason Harmon for Tennessee WildCast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.